So here's the Grinch reviewed all in Seussian rhyme. If you want the cliff notes, I guess it's not a bad time. It's perfectly competent, it's not much of a chore, though there are some long lulls where it's a bit of a bore. But it's just a kids film, I hear people cry. Why review it at all? Why even try? Well, put simply, I'd say kids deserve a bit better than the filmic equivalent of a novelty Christmas sweater. There are plenty of amazing kids films for one thing, from Ghibli to Star Wars to the sodding Lion King. What man taught us this? What kind of joker said we should appreciate kids films even if they're mediocre? I won't stand for that. No, it's simply absurd. If a film's a bit shite, I'll tell you it's a turd. You don't get that shield, you don't get that defense. Oh, it's just a kids film? God, don't be so dense. Have you never seen Toy Story? Have you never seen Kubo? Have you never seen A Boy Tame a Dragon? Or Adventured with Hugo? No. It's simply not an excuse. It implies kids' movies are lesser, which is rather obtuse. If you're wondering what's led me to vent such frustrations, I can point to one studio, specifically known as Illumination. They're the guys who made this film, you'll be aware no doubt. They also made those yellow things that obnoxiously shout. Banana! They cry, as if yelling fruit's somehow funny. Banana! They cry. And they make so much money. They make unholy amounts of dollar, like my dear God, and they infect everywhere, this little yellow squad. They're part of culture now wherever you look. There's Minion balls, Minion onesies, a big Minion book, Minion t-shirts, Minion mugs, Minion shampoo. Jesus Christ! Lots of Minion merch, almost all overpriced. They're part of pop culture. There is no escape from these little yellow Tic Tacs that screech like wild apes. There's even fan contributions to this big pop fiction bank. Yeah, there's Minion porn now. Not my proudest wank. But why am I talking about the Minions? Why ever so? Well, this history's important, and I want you to know that for every Minion meme, the kind that seemed to have no end, Illumination got richer off this weird Minion trend. Enough so that they've made an empire on average animation. One that fills audiences with indifference and myself with frustration. They've become a big player in the industry's stagnation, one that prioritises profit over the wonder of creation. You may think that's bold to say, a hell of an accusation, but they never make films worthy of celebration. Yet their profits are huge, more so than most. Even though their films are as bland as dry toast, they've cracked a code, you see, to do the bare minimum. Their films are a bit crap, but they're sprinkled with cinnamon. They're colourful, they're cute, they're flashy and bright. But look a little deeper and they're often dog shite. Their model is, make something naff and then sell the toy. Doesn't really matter if there's any substance to enjoy. They make quick films on the cheap and watch the numbers fly. Then they put out another when the last well runs dry. And this would be alright if the films weren't so okay, but that's part of the plan. It's the Illumination way. They've managed to create a model where their profits swell. So why make a masterpiece when just functional will sell? And The Grinch is a product of this cynical pursuit, greenlit by producers probably with coke stains on their suit. Get a recognisable name and throw it out at Christmas. Stick a quote on the poster like, you don't want to miss this. It's a safe bet for sure, as safe as can be. Dr. Seuss in the winter? Well, that's just risk-free. No need to put much effort into the actual movie. We're not up against Star Wars, so everything's groovy. As long as the film's not awful, well, what the hell. Parents will still take their kids, so everything's swell. And it's a shame. It truly is, because there's real talent in that place. There were moments in this movie that put a smile on my face. The animators are skilled. It'd be ridiculous to say otherwise. Say what you want about the studio, but there's passion in those guys. The scenery's often beautiful, stunning vistas covered in snow. The opening shots are really quite a mesmerising show. The characters move with a bouncy upbeatness, and it's hard to deny the overall sweetness. There's a scene with a bunch of gadgets that's really fun and daft. It's clear the animators are experts in their craft, and it's amazing it looks good on a fairly tight budget. It takes real effort on so little cash to really not fudge it. And at the end of the day, it is a cute tale, one with a good message and a small but intimate scale. Redemption and forgiveness are great lessons for a child, and it's all told in a manner that isn't too wild. It's mostly unobnoxious, there's nothing too annoying. The film never really gets into the realm of being cloying. It's probably one of their stronger outputs, though that's not saying much, but there's undeniable talent here and should be recognised as such. The cute animal sidekick is full of personality, but alas, all the good here falls victim to banality. The original poem was only brief and very quick, but the runtime of this film is really rather thick. So they gotta pad it out with a shitload of filler, and this is what gets you, this is the real killer. It adds nothing new, just drags everything out with humour that doesn't land, like a goat who just shouts. There's jokes about fat reindeers and obvious slapstick. You've seen it all before, it's all the same crap shtick. The film flips between two easy emotions, haha and ah, and to guarantee asses in seats, they signed a big star. This time Benedict Cumberbatch, that delightful British chap. But I've really got to say, his performance is kinda crap. I don't think it's him so much as his direction, like, surely you sign him for his British inflection. But he seems to have been instructed, please sound nothing like you. So we end up with a voice performance just about anyone could do. A Grinch with a sly British wit could have been real clever, but remember, take no creative risks, not now, not ever. His whole role can be summed up with, I guess it's not bad, I suppose they just wanted a name for the ads. And as the film goes on, the quality starts to waver. We get a really bad remix of the Grinch theme by Tyler, the creator? What? Nothing's terrible per se, except the awful vocal part of the soundtrack, but nothing stands out either, it's all just a bit slack. The pacing's really off, there's nothing there you'll remember, and also why the hell did they release this in November? Like, Jesus dudes, wait a month, we're barely out of Halloween, I know you want the money quicker, but you're a little over keen. Criticisms aside, look, I suppose it's not the worst, and I'd probably be far less cynical if it was Illumination's first, but it's not, it's their 9th, and only one film of theirs is any good, and I don't want to be that stick in the mud, but when you make this much profit off films this basic and shoddy, the industry takes notice and it starts to copy. That's why you get films starring emojis and cash-ins like the Smurfs. And how long is it before this takes over Disney's turf? I'm not saying it's inevitable, it's just a concern, because it's the producers at the top here and they just want to earn, and if you can make billions in profit on half-baked shit, how does then something refreshing and different ever get greenlit? Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. The Grinch is just fine. It's a can of Coke, but it ain't no aged wine. It's an animated hamburger, but it sure isn't a steak. If you do end up seeing it though, it wouldn't be a mistake. Its narrative is plodding, its characters hit their beats. The Geordie in me would just say, it's alright. If you're wondering why I talk more about the studio than the Grinch, it's because there's not all that much to say. I was kind of in a pinch. It's fairly difficult to pick apart a film so okay. Like it's hard to describe colour when everything is grey. I can't say I recommend it, but I can't say that I don't. Plus, like, my opinion's gonna make a difference to the profits anyway. Spoilers, it won't. So here's my thoughts on this story of the Who's. I hope you enjoyed my efforts to artificially inflate my views by gimmicking this video with a rhyming scheme. Gotta hit that silver play button, I know I'm nowhere near it, a man can dream. Anyway, if you had a good time, please subscribe, give it a like, leave a comment if you feel like telling me it's all a bit shite, hit me up on Insta, follow me on Twitter, because the trivial increase of numbers makes me feel like a winner. I don't normally push for these things, but this time I figured I'd give it a crack, because Jesus Christ this was hard, so cut me some sodding slack. Do you know how many sensical words and phrases rhyme with Benedict Cumberbatch? Fucking none in this poem, I'll tell you that for now. This lad's supposedly Sherlock, greatest detective in the world, but he couldn't detect himself an easier name, could he? Bell end.